Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. I'm going to talk about two things today. One is the Oppenheimer movie, and the other is the latest activities in the case of P. Ramalingam that happened, unfortunately, in 2019. It is very important to know about that also. First, please like this video, and I'm going to share with you some very interesting data about Oppenheimer, the scientist. How did he learn Sanskrit? When did he learn Sanskrit? And why is this movie controversial? What is it that is objectionable? All this and more. So first of all, please do like this video. And I'm going to share with you a very small slide deck. So let us have the slide deck, please. So this is the title. You probably have seen this, trailer, poster, whatever, in many places. So what exactly was objectionable? So in one of the scenes, it is shown that a woman asks Oppenheimer to recite verses from Bhagavad Gita while they are having sex. This is what was objected to, and now the Information Broadcasting Ministry has issued an order to delete this offensive scene from the movie because it has really nothing to no bearing on the movie itself. So anyway, that's what is going to play out. I think whatever next version, next screening, or as soon as possible, you'll start seeing the movie without this particular scene. And why is it objectionable? How are you going to stop somebody from reciting Bhagavad Gita when performing the act of sex? One might ask. See, the problem is not that. The problem is, for the longest time, Sanatanis have ignored jabs at their religion, their habits, their culture, including some DMK, Dravida Dumils who keep on cutting off the hair of Brahmins and cutting off the Jano threads. He ignored all these things. Now things have come to a pass where people are saying they are not responding because they know it is the truth. The silence, which is actually ignoring somebody, has now been converted to saying that, oh, these guys are not objecting, so let us pile on some more shit on top of their heads. This is where the problem is. Now people are becoming a little more sensitive and they're saying that take it out. But let's get back to the life of Oppenheimer. What is it that he found fascinating about Sanskrit? So there are lots of stories about this. He was born in New York City, and in the 1930s, he went to UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley, a city that is very close to where I live, to learn Sanskrit. And then after that, he started going through the scriptures, I believe for two reasons. One was that he found a lot of information about the Paramanu, the atom bomb, which the equivalent that I can find in Indian scriptures is Brahmastra, because the effect of the two are very, very similar. And it is believed that whenever he got stuck on the design, he would go back to refer to the Vedas to find information about where or how to get around his problem. That's one thing. The other thing is, when the bomb actually went off in a desert in the United States, he's claimed to have quoted Krishna where he says, I think it is chapter 12, where he says, I am becoming death, I am become death, or something to that nature. Even in this movie, they mention the second part, but it is mentioned among so much noise that it's hard to even pick it up. But they don't mention the real thing about why he learned Sanskrit and why why he had to go into all the scriptures to understand how the bomb itself is being made. By the way, guys, I don't know how many of you know about Brahmastra. Brahmastra is a series of recitations you sang or you quoted to invoke the astra, which can it is capable of massive destruction. Even today, if you go to the land where the Kurukshetra war was fought, in the city of Kurukshetra, not a blade grows there. Nothing grows there. They've tried. So that tells you that there was something terrible that took place right on that place. It's now 5,000 years later, and we are still not seeing anything grow there. So Brahmastra was known only to a few people. Who are those few people? I can quote from here from Wikipedia. Parashurama, Rama, Meghanada, the son of Ravana, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Ashwathama, and Arjuna and Lakshmana. So what happens is that you know about Karna, who has a curse because he went to his guru, I think it was Vishwamitra, if I remember correctly, to ask about this Brahmastra, he taught it to him, but he had a rule that he would only teach Brahmastra to Brahmins. And he gets caught on a lie because Karna was a Kshatriya. So therefore, the sage who taught him the Brahmastra says that you will not be able to remember the verses when you need them the most. And hence, when his chariot breaks down and he starts reciting Brahmastra, he can't remember the words. That's how he dies at the hands of Arjuna. Anyway, so this is a long story here about backdrop on Brahmastra. And so where exactly did he find the data? I have not got much information on this, but clearly the sensibilities have been offended. I think it is time Hindus started speaking up on some of these things, because I tell you guys, in the West, especially in the United States, Hinduism is depicted using two pictures. One, Nataraja dancing on a baby head. That's not a baby. It is a demon called Muyalagan. I've told you this story in a different episode. I hope you guys go back and refer to this and the legend of Nataraja. The second one is they show a picture of Kali drinking blood. This also has been explained by Lakshmibai Nalapatji when she came on our channel. Do go back to our channel. You can just search on these names and you will get the actual reference to what it was. So this literal depiction of Sanatana Dharma is a gross injustice to the Sanatana Dharma itself. After all of us were Sanatanis at one point of time. Oh, sorry, you are right. It is Parashurama, not Vishamitra. I knew there was something wrong about what I was saying. Thanks for correcting me. It is Parashurama. You are right. So, in fact, I even quoted the name when I was saying about Brahmastra. Thank you for correcting me. So, this is the first part of the talk. And I'll take questions after I finish the second part, because the second part is much more significant. What has been happening? Now, let us take the next slide, please. Today, the NIA has announced a reward of 5 lakhs to the 5 absconders who were involved in the murder of activist Sri V. Ramalingam. Next slide, please. I'm just giving you the relevant paragraphs from the previous slide. You can go and take a look at that. We'll try and put a link to that also in our description section as to what exactly was the NIA press release. But this particular incident that happened, I have to take you back a little bit. I have talked about this in a previous hangout, but just for the sake of memory, I'm going to walk you back. What used to happen, and this is the real present danger today. The conversion, the forced conversion by both the Christian community and the Muslim community on the majority Hindu community happens always in the rural areas, in the most backward areas, places where people have difficulty earning their livelihood because they are promised some money and then they get converted. Now, there are several areas in Tamil Nadu which have been affected by this, and one such area is the district of Thanjavur. And in Thanjavur, there was a small village. There's a Thoppu. Just give me 1 second while I pick up the name. Paku Vinayagam Thoppu. Paku means betel nut. And there must have been a gentleman by name of Vinayagam, and he might have owned a betel nut forest. So what had happened was sometime before 2019, I don't remember the exact date, maybe it was a few months before that. What happens is every year or periodically, the Islamists, they come to this village to try and convert Hindus into Muslims. And they have a small Muslim community in that village area. And every time they would come and they would be, confronted by people like Ramalingam who would say, why are you trying to convert us? We are not interested. So at one point of time, there was a dialogue that happened. And these Dawa people put the skull cap on Ramalingam's head. So he said, okay, I will wear your skull cap, provided you wear the vibhuti that I'm going to give you. So he had vibhuti. So he took the vibhuti with his hand and he put it on the person who gave him the skull cap on his forehead. Now, this was taken as an affront. And then what happened was they started planning his killing. And they knew what Ramalingam used to do. He had I think it was a Toyota like Innova like vehicle. Don't kill me with details, okay? It's just a vehicle that he was traveling with his son. I'm just trying to tell you a story which I remember from memory. So they reseed him. They knew where he goes and where he comes on over a period of time. And then one night they caught him. See, the way the route was he had to go through a very narrow passageway, and this is an area which was essentially populated with Muslims. And this narrow area of the road is so narrow that you can either go reverse or forward. You cannot make a turn. And they waited for him to get into that area, and then they stopped the car. After they stopped the car, they pulled down. He's the driver. His son is sitting by his side. They pulled down the window and they cut the hand. In fact, I think they started with the finger that applied the vibhuti. Then they cut the hand, and right in front of his son, they bled him to death. If you have an open artery, you will bleed out in 3 minutes, maximum 3 minutes, and then they left. But video evidence was taken, I believe, and his son rushed him to the hospital thinking that he could still save his father, but it was too late. Now, what happened after that was a case was registered, and 5 people surrendered. The point was that when these people were paraded in front of the son said, "These were not the people who killed my father." So this is a trick that they use all the time. What happens is somebody commits the murder, then they go absconding. Then somebody else will say, just to try and keep the police from investigating further, saying, "Oh, we are the one," so they surrender. But then what happens is when the court case starts happening several years later, then these guys will present alibi saying that I was never at that place. Because several years have elapsed, the court has no option but to release the new imposters who are supposed to be the original killers. In this case, the NIA has done serious job. They have gone back and they found that there are 5 people who are involved in the murder. They know these people, but then now it is 4 years. They have gone absconding. So they have put a price tag of a reward of 5 lakhs per person for anyone who can give them information about where they are hiding. Not only that, the NIA has conducted several raids. The most important thing here is, for the longest time, the Indian government has been in denial. Like, for example, the Minister of State for Home told in Lok Sabha that there was no love jihad. And then when I tried to get a guest to answer this question, he said, "Well, there's technically there isn't one." This happened about 2-3 years ago. But now you have the Kerala story, my book, Who Painted My Money White. All these things talk about the ill effects of all this stuff. So now, will the government at least now say that there is love jihad, there is real estate jihad, there is business jihad, there is every kind of jihad that is going on? Unless you understand and quote and present the problem, how are you going to stop this from spreading? There is nobody special on earth. Everybody is the same, or everybody is special. You choose which one you want. There is no speciality. You don't get any special benefit just because you happen to be of a particular community, a particular religion. Nothing like that. We are human beings first, then we are the citizens of a particular country, then we are something else, they are something. A religion comes way down. Don't try to take this thing up and put it on the top. This is one of the biggest problems. So anyway, so this is the first time that I know of where the NIA has, which means the government, has classified it as an extremely violent jihadi manner of killing. And this will tell you, so what happens is, this is what is being indoctrinated, that in the name of religion, you can do this. So India has got what, 250 million now, 25 crores Muslims. Even 10 are enough. If they are so radicalized that they will do anything, because for them, murder is no problem. Life begins after death. Nobody has verified that there were 72 virgins waiting for them. Nobody has verified this. But they continue to believe in this. Where is the counter argument for that? Who is going to do the counter argument? Recently, you had a cleric from Saudi Arabia come and talk in India, but how many of us followed his trip? How many of us followed his observation, which said that, yes, I see that India is a very pluralistic country that respects all religions. Essentially, what he said was, India follows in letter and spirit Sarva Dharma Samabhava. But ask, did you see any of the mainstream media mentioning all this stuff? No. So this is the problem. India has everything right, but somehow it's unable to communicate. For example, Mr. Anurag Thakur, the I&B Minister, he has been accused of going slow on giving certification for the Kerala story. You remember that? T.G. Mohandas had come and talked on our channel about this. So there is a fair amount of house cleaning that is required. Modi hasn't done it. I've been telling this for the longest time. Some very senior bureaucrats are all compromised and they need to be out before you can even get a semblance of order. He needs to crack the whip. I mean, he has cracked the whip on his own party people. Nobody can speak out of turn. But he doesn't do it on the bureaucrats. These are the guys who are with you and they are digging a hole for you. Look at Manipur. Anyway, so this is just my 2 cents. I'll stop here and now let's take, one segue into what is happening with PFI. We all know in September 2022, PFI was banned. But do you know where PFI came from? PFI was an amalgamation of 4 organizations, one of them being CIMI, which was banned, I think, in 2005 or 2006, somewhere in that ballpark. The founder of CIMI, okay, next slide, please. Muhammad Ahmadullah Siddiqui now teaches in a university in the United States, and he claims that he is no longer associated with CIMI, but now he has gone with another entity. And go back to the previous slide, please. Justice for All. This is where he is associating himself with these days. But all these form the same alphabet soup that I have talked about for a long time now, but at least a year now. ICNA, IAMC, ISNA, and all these things are basically entities funded by the ISI. You can see if you look at this drawing closely, you'll see how these people find their trace back to Pakistan. In fact, I've also told you how Equality Labs, Thenmozhi Soundararajan, has links with all these people because of the person that was on her board, also a co-author of the caste discrimination report, the DAR, D-A-R. Huma Dar, whose sister continues to live in Pakistan, married to a Pakistani army officer. Huma Dar spews venom at every possible opportunity. In fact, I have a separate video on 3 people of Pakistani origin who continue to spew venom on India and Indian Americans, and especially Hindu Americans. One is in Berkeley, Huma Dar. One is in University of San Diego, University of California at San Diego, social studies program. I don't remember her name. The third one is in Columbia University. So you can look it up. There is another video on that. Just type on P Guru's channel, Huma, Humadar, and you will get that video to get more information. I'm trying to tie in all these things because PFI, while it has kind of subsided, my fear is that they will come back in a different form. In fact, PFI's activities haven't stopped. The 2 train setting on fire incidents in Kerala, they were actually trying to see if they could do a fire accelerant to try and set the thing, catch fire faster. Where else was this fire accelerant used? In the Indian consulate in San Francisco. You see how these things connect dot up? Again, who was the Gangotri of all this? ISI. ISI is funding Khalistani. Of the at least 3 people that have gone missing, only 1 has been apprehended thus far. I still don't have the details of this person. All I know is that FBI has apprehended 1 person. Why is it so hard to catch hold of all these people? I don't know. I'm amazed. So let's get back to did we cover all the slides? Let me just quickly take a look at it. Next one. This is V. Ramalingam. Next one. Okay, so CIMI may have been banned by the government, but the people who formed are still thriving in our country. This is a OS in Twitter thread, and CIMI has morphed into PFI, and PFI's political organization SDPI continues to thrive. And in fact, you know who is supporting them? The local Congress government in Karnataka. I wonder if Mr. Rahul Gandhi can come out in a press conference and say that, yes, we will support SDPI throughout the country. In other words, these people are saying that it is okay to be treasonous. It's you see now, these people have taken their great ideas to across the world. Everybody is suffering from that. And at what point this is going to affect human beings, I don't know. We already know that there were some shootings amongst the gang members. that might have hurt some innocent people also in a Gurudwara that happened a few months ago. So the important thing here is intelligence has to be shared amongst different organizations, and quick action. Quick action is the need of the hour. You think that those 5 absconders are going to be still in India? I doubt it. In the name of jihad, they would have melted somewhere else into God knows where. In fact, they say that they left the night that happened, they were gone. That's what was my information. Anyway, a beginning has been made. 5 lakhs, is it enough? Too little, too much? I don't know. Only if actionable information comes out and arrests start getting made, only then we will know. Because people have to understand that you will be caught, and you'll be caught quickly, and justice will be done. Thanks for watching, and let's take some questions now if you have. Arvind Gopalan, Namaste. If I am right, Oppenheimer had compared the intense light of the bomb with the tejus of Sri Krishna during vishvarupa darshana. Hollywood has stooped too low by misquoting him. No, they do quote I am becoming death. That part they do quote in the movie. It's just done in a very noisy background, so it is even hard to miss unless you go looking for it. When he looks at what he has wrought upon, the atom bomb test. That is only one part of it. Oppenheimer was born of Jewish parents who escaped from Germany and came and settled down in America. He was born in 1925 in New York City. In fact, the backdrop will tell you a hint about that. So what it is the movie has some Christian undertones in it to try and run Hinduism down. I object to that part. Absolutely vehemently object that anything from here on, if Hollywood tries to do this kind of stuff, it has to be opposed, it has to be objected, and you have to show things the way they are. Next question, please. Mr. Bharani wants to know, I haven't watched the movie yet, so don't know what the scene was. I told you the scene. Considering India created Kamasutra, is it really offensive if they show Bhagavad Gita as part of the scene? Well, like I said, is it relevant to the movie? If you are going to show something about Bhagavad Gita, did it really happen? Is there any proof? Somebody can dig up to see if there was any mention of Robert Oppenheimer having been made to recite from the Bhagavad Gita while he was having sex. Look it up. I mean, see if there is any documentation, and please present it by way of comments, and we can take a look at it. Because why are you naming the movie Oppenheimer? Because you are riding on the name. He's considered the father of the atom bomb. So you are riding the coattails of Oppenheimer. It's not a fictional story. If it is factual, if it really did happen, I would like to see the reference to it. And I would also like to see references to Oppenheimer having sought information from the Vedas when he was stuck on the design problem. Next one, please. V. Prakash wants to know why Prasunn Joshi does it again and again. Aadi Purush was cleared with highly objectionable dialogues and treatment of the Ramayana. Now this creative bankruptcy of the director of this film. Well, Prasunn Joshi is just one person. The central censor board consists of, I think, 5 people who actually watch the movie. And the board goes by the advice of these 5 people. And it's a known fact that, and they have regional censor board, one in Chennai, one in wherever, Mumbai, whatever. And they are the ones who are doing, we have had many instances where people said that we bribe these people to get a certificate. So, like everything else, even the CB, Central Board of Finance Film Censors, these are actually people who are supposed to be from the industry. Many are, actors, former writers, former directors, and things like that. But money is a very powerful incentive. People have to understand that it's a privilege and an honor to be on some of these boards, not a place to make money. Unfortunately, they pay money to get onto that board. Therefore, they think of it as a return on investment. What can I say? Manov-san wants to know, sir, Naga militants are now demanding all Meiteis leave Mizoram. Congress and left have shown such bias and demonized Meiteis. They may end up in refugee camps like Kashmiri Pandits. I don't think that will happen. This is a serious case, what is happening now. And you have to give some more time for the government to do the cleanup. It's a war on drugs and drug lords. That is the backgrounder. And as to who is, supplying the drugs, We have already identified, I think I've done 2 or 3 episodes with various guests where we have talked about the data that has come out. So the drug lords have been disempowered, they've been disenfranchised, they have been, of course, they were paying money to all parties, including the BJP and its partners. So how are they going to be able to walk off of that? It's going to take some time. This is an endemic problem. It's not some specific one individual who can make a difference. I know of people in the BJP itself who are being accused now by people on the ground, saying that these people were complicit in this. So what can I say? I mean, I'm sure Amit Shah and Modi know about these things. They need to act. Whether they are acting or not, nobody knows, because they never say anything. And there was a explainer by Army, I think it came in June 26, 2023. There was a video where the Army showed how the Kuki women were preventing the arrests of known offenders, about 8 of them. And the Army was forced to not arrest them. So if you are going to try and stop the Army from doing their job, what does it say about the Kuki women? Why isn't anybody asking that question? Also, the parading of the 2 naked women, I'm told, was a reaction to the Kukis attacking a Meitei village. Why isn't anybody talking about that? See, if you go to a bar, if there is a brawl in the bar and the police comes 10, 15, 20 minutes later, they always arrest the guy who threw the first punch. That is the cause of the whole thing. It's a very simple logic. So in this case also, the government needs to be more forthright and come out and say what led up to that. That is important. People will need to know the truth. The nation wants to know. And this is coming out in bits and pieces. It's not coming out as a whole story. But see, simple baat hai. One community is living in the valley, the other community is living around the surrounding hills, and they have sniper guns and rifles. There's only one way this story is going to end, guys. Unless the government steps in, unless the army steps in, maybe reimpose AF-SPA and clean out these hills. That's the only way I can mention this thing. Many guns were stolen from various police stations in Manipur. Those have to be traced and returned back. And people have to understand that they are first the citizens of a country. The tribal association comes much, much later. That's also important. Next question, please. Gudank XP wants to know, do you agree, Sriji, only some people in the BJP are competent, the rest are incompetent, secular? Yes, I agree. I've always been saying this thing, and they also deliberately keep out talented people. I can tell at least 3 or 4 people who are not, who are minister materials, serious decision makers, very efficient thinkers, honest to a fault. These people should be in the government. I've always said that the intellectual gravitas of the cabinet is very light. Take it for what it is. Next one, please. Partha P wants to know, what can be included in the next phase of government's PLI scheme? The PLI scheme, you need to give it some more time to give results. But clearly, a couple of things that the Modi government has done is it has recognized that if you concentrate power in a few hands, that can become dangerous. So what has happened? Mumbai used to be the business capital of India. Now, most of that stuff is being changed, phased out brick by brick to Ahmedabad. There's a gift city, gift exchange. All the things that used to be in Mumbai are now beginning to get replicated with a more modern outlook. In fact, you'll start seeing it leapfrog the NSE because a lot of foreign funds are going to start listing themselves in the gift exchange. It will not be on the NSE. So such things will basically mean that NSE is going to go down finally. And the SEBI is completely corrupted. They don't act enough. They are supposed to be operating in the interests of the common shareholder, but if anything, they do the exact opposite. So what can I say? This is a known fact. I've been saying this for a long time with proof, and nothing happens. The NSA co-location scam, nobody has gone to jail. Next one, please. Jagdev Singh Atri wants to know, I saw the movie and really they have insulted Bhagavad Gita in the movie by showing the scene where Oppenheimer was having sex, and really it was an insult to overall Hinduism. Yes, absolutely. I agree. I totally agree. Ignoring has been a mistake. Ignoring all these people saying things about Hinduism, it's a mistake. Now you have to go back and stand and fight hard. Say, no, this is wrong. This is a wrong depiction. Take it out. We'll see. Devendra Singhvi wants to know, respected Sree Iyer Sahib, Namaskar. Will I be allowed to start an NGO with the name Group of Vivekananda Teachings of India, which can be abbreviated as Government of India? I'm eagerly awaiting any court or election commission stand on it. Devendra Singhvi ji, any acronym can be, made to sound interesting. You can give it a try. Doesn't hurt. You might even get the name. Next one, please. Shree Hegde, formerly Tony Stark, Iron Man. Isn't the fault of Indian censor board not to cut this part in the movie Oppenheimer? Why government don't act on them? It is not first time. Aadi Purush also was another case. No, I think the bigger thing was Kerala file. They stopped the screening of the movie itself. They ordered so many cuts that the movie was completely toothless. Or even before that, Pura Mudal Pura Vare, that was the 1921 Malabar riots. That also they tried to stop it from coming out. The censor board has an agenda. Prasunn Joshi has to explain. You have to fire some of these rascals. I mean, I tell you, these guys are embedded left loonies sitting, lording over it, thinking they know everything, and a lot of house cleaning. I told you, right, at the very beginning, I told you, Modi should have cleaned up a bunch of senior bureaucrats. They are still plying their craft now in one form or the other, advisor to the government, this, that, 65, 70, 75-year-olds. And the bureaucracy is also hurting because many people who are more capable are not able to occupy those positions because these people are sitting there. Every time I ask these questions to somebody in power, they'll say, okay, next election, all these things is going to be cleaned up. God only knows when it happens. Guru Prasad wants to know, a movie on the atrocities of Tipu Sultan is stopped due to threats received to producer. Your thoughts about it? Same thing. You either we want to learn the history the way it happened, or you don't want to think about it at all. Just be something like goody goody, kuch kuch hota hai type movies. Even that I don't know whether it's a romantic movie with some undertones or not. I haven't seen these movies. But what my point is that people have a right to know the truth. Tipu Sultan will always be a murderer. The thing that he did to Mandya Iyengars, I mean, it's unspeakable horror. And the same thing with, Kurgis, Kodavas, and also along the coast, on the Konkan coast, what he did is just terrible, terrible. And people have a right to know about it. Next question, please. Jyotishmati wants to know, till today, Modi didn't speak about Chidambaram temple issue. He's keeping silent. Dr. Swami is tweeting China's issue. Koi nahi aaya, standard answer. What is stopping them to complete pending cases? Where do I start, Jyotishmati? Where do I start? I don't know. Many cases just don't see the light of the day. Crores of cases are pending, and the court registrar has a very powerful role as to what to put up in front of the judges, what to leave out. The chief justice at each level, the person who's the chief, they have the leeway to go and look at the roster. They can also look at what is coming up on the cases, what cases have been assigned. If they can weigh in, are they? I don't know. See, these are all transparency. Why can't some chief justice, like for example of Madras High Court, come out and say, yes, there are all these things pending and these cases need to be resolved. Arbitration courts can be formed so that, see, most of the time it is like, land property dispute and things like that. And these things should be fixable in a fairly timely manner. All that happens is one party knows it's going to lose right at the beginning itself. So they keep on extending the delay because they want to wear out the other side. The other side, for example, is weak financially. They'll say, okay, this guy eventually will throw in the towel. This is the whole thing. I mean, that's also another way of, land grabbing. I'm just giving you an example, but this is exactly what is happening in Indian system. Utpal Kumar Singh wants to know, do you think CBFC India is even a relevant institution? That's a great question. Because a movie is also a commercial venture. If you do something right, you will get the rewards. If you do something wrong, you will be punished by the market. And if you ask me, they should self-certify and throw the CBFC out. Why do you need these people? You don't need them. You are absolutely right. In fact, Information and Broadcasting Ministry does everything except what it is supposed to do. It is still to act on all the TV channels who have dubious funding. They should have shut them down. Heck, I&B could not shut down NDTV channel for 24 hours. This was a court order. And Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, who went on to become the vice president, couldn't do it. 24 hours. They couldn't shut down NDTV for 24 hours. What are they? God, voice of God or what? Anyway, they could be. They think they could be. Anyway, next one. Jyotishmati again, Karnataka government's freebie scheme started. Even in city branches, minimum 500 people are coming for Aadhaar seeding. Hell for the bankers. This is just information. Thank you. Akshit Chandok wants to know, Western world seems to have waged a war on Hinduism. Why is that? I told you, Akshit, for the longest time, Indians did not, or Hindu Americans did not take cognizance of the misinterpretation of Sanatana Dharma in the textbooks. Everybody knows caste in America, and they say it is Hinduism. When in fact, it is actually something that was practiced by the Portuguese. Casta means class. They were having 4 classes of the society, and they tried to use that, and the British perfected it. In fact, British did such a good job that when they were trying to name people, and people said, "What is your name?" They said, "My name is Vijay Anand." And then they wanted it in a format that was what was available prevalent in England, which was like first name, last name. Then they would ask, "What is your given name?" You'll say, "I don't have a given name." Then they scratch their head. At least in the South, many people had a village name, father name, your name. And like, for example, you have it backwards in Sachin's case. Sachin is your name, father's name is Ramesh, and then Tendul is the name of the village. I think Tendulkar means from that village. I don't know Marathi. So Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar was the format that everybody had, at least in the South. And the British in the North, they said, well, they couldn't find, so your name is Vijay Anand. What is your family name? I don't have one. Oh, what is your caste? Oh, I am a Patel. So suddenly that became the last name. And once somebody templated this across North India now, anybody's name will reveal what their caste is. And this has been exploited. In South, it is difficult, which is why Tenmuri Soundararajan says she's a Dalit Deva. Same Soundararajan is also used by the priestly class. We have Soundararajan Chilkur, Rangarajan Soundararajan Chilkur, and many other people. So it is difficult to look at the name and last name and say that thou shalt belong to this caste. So there is a lot of mischief that has happened, and the Western eyes have to be opened. And I'm hoping that I'll make a dent. In fact, I've done long videos on what is the real meaning of swastika and so on and so forth. And now efforts are there to educate many people about why Hukenkraus is different from the swastika. Next question, please. Sri Sundaram wants to know, your point very pertinent. Root cause of Manipur incident is not being considered as all. Cookies created trigger, escaped scrutiny despite displacing Métis, but Hindus caught with hand in the jar. Yeah, I think it's an observation. Thank you. Next question, please. Vamsi wants to know, Abhijit has said India doesn't have talent regarding semiconductor manufacturing, but manufacturers can recruit and train them. Do you agree? It will take some time, Vamsi. Taiwan took many years before they became the premier semiconductor fab manufacturers. And even then, a lot of people used to come live from US on a semi-permanent basis in Taiwan. Like, for example, companies that are associated with fabs, Applied Materials, Lam Research, ASML, they used to send specialists over to Taiwan to do this. In fact, you will be surprised to know many universities have their own mini fab. They have their own clean room. I mean, I went to a small university called Colorado State University, not small, 20,000 people student body, and they had a very robust program. They used to do a lot of research. I'm talking about 30 years ago. Gallium arsenide research program, which is semiconductor. And they were at the cutting edge. Many people came out with papers from that. And that's what needs to happen in India. How many IITs have fabs? Ask that question. That's where research begins. Because once the university has a fab, then the university will start having students work on it. They'll start working on the next cutting edge technology. And that's how technology grows. Even for manufacturing, you need a lot of technological prowess, physicists, chemists, processes people. Lots of things are needed. If India starts today, it will take 10 years before they'll have a meaningful fab. I'm hopeful that something like this will happen, because there are a lot of non-resident Indians who are specialists in this, who can help set it up, as long as there is some meaningful way for them to get compensated for their time in India. Don't hit them with the income tax. Give them a tax holiday. Let them take their money back in whatever currency they want. These are all small potatoes compared to what the bigger benefit that you are going to get. This is where India screws up. They'll say, no, they have to pay taxes. They have to pay this. No. If you want good stuff, you need to have good people. And for wanting good people, you have to make it worth their time to come and work in India. Next one, please. Chaitanya, thank you so much. Is increasing land holdings to 70 acres help Indian agriculture revolutionize, as farmers can take advantage of economies of scale? To a certain extent, yes, Chaitanya. But already you have cooperatives that own tractors, and they use these tractors on a shared basis. That has been working well for a long time. Amul is an excellent example of cooperative milk producer society. It is possible. Yes, making the land size a little bit bigger will help make things get a little bit more efficient. A lot of these things are happening. In fact, drip irrigation is taking root, especially in the south where water is scarce, and they're able to get some magical output. Drip irrigation also helps you contain infestation of crops. So a lot of things are happening. I wouldn't be worried too much about the size of the land being aggregated, but these are all artificial curbs. They should remove them. If somebody wants to buy more, as long as you make sure nobody's getting ripped off, put them on a blockchain. Land registry record should be on a blockchain. That way, what happens is the ownership is settled. Nobody can rip anybody off. Next question, please. CR7. Sri Kerala ATS and NIA arrested a group called Pet Lovers connected with ISI. Can you catch up on this? Yes, we will do that. We'll do a program on this in the near future. Thanks for reminding us. Next one, please. Shyam Goel Sanatani. Sree Iyer, sir, I want to know what is the society engineering in TN that one time DMK and other time ADMK. People vote for one or the other because there was lack of choice. And Indira Gandhi ceded the central position many years ago, where she did a deal, I think it was with DMK, where she said that I'll give you a majority of seats for the state, but I will take majority of seats for the Lok Sabha in a coalition. And from then on, these things have gone south, because once the state parties became strong in the south, in their own state, they started dictating to Congress that, okay, we will only give you so many seats. Go do whatever you want. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones in connect with the voter, not the central parties. And Congress, Indira Gandhi ruined Congress because she placed loyalty above somebody's efficiency, about their talent to actually serve the public. A politician is supposed to be a public servant in a truest form. How many of them are serving the public today? That's the question. And all this started happening from Indira Gandhi days. Heck, she nationalized the banks and the Supreme Court turned it down. And then she passed a law to reverse Supreme Court ruling. And then now BJP did the same thing. They have armed the scheduled caste community with some very drastic powers. And when the Supreme Court objected, they passed a law to override it. They don't even have a 24-hour cooling period to try and do a fact finding, whether it was right or wrong. So this is very arbitrary, and it should not be that way. So what is the difference now? Why is BJP saying party with a difference? Show me the difference. They are also including all these people like Ajit Pawar and the Shiv Sena guys. Thoda Ganga Snan karwa diya to sab theek, saat khoon maaf. Will we ever know who killed SSR? God knows. Next one, please. I think we may have hit the last question. Thanks for watching. Last one. I live in Punjab, and talking to various Hindu organizations here, they despise Modi for not helping Hindus in Bengal. The AAP victory in part was fueled by that, as well as why don't BJP act? Well, first off, I've been saying this for 7-8 years now. Have a party spokesperson or have a government spokesperson tell what you did in that day. Why are they not saying that? What are they afraid of? I don't know. And law has to be applied equally on everybody. Why did they let Mamta off for the May 5th, 2021 riots? She unleashed terror on all the people who work for the BJP. What were these guys doing? Only this Panchayat election, I'm hearing that many of the leaders accompanied their candidates at the Panchayat level so that they could even file their nomination papers. But the violence is still violence. Again, there was violence. I mean, this violence has to stop. When are you going to stop? The police is always forced to kowtow to the local state administration. Otherwise, they do transfers. The police is so corrupt that they pay money to get postings in special places where there is a lot of malai. I mean, see, corruption has spread in every facet of the society. We cannot say with a clear face that there is no corruption in this particular department. No, it is endemic. And you're not seeing it only in India, you're seeing it in the United States also. It's a problem. It's a big systemic problem now. Rahul Rathod wants to know, as I've mentioned many times, Hindus never learned narrative warfare after 1,000 years of enslavement. Even in so-called Hindu government, we are doing nothing when someone insults your views. Yes, this is a good way to push back. Aadi Purush was a good way to push back. Same way that they are forcing the deletion of scenes. But in my opinion, Anurag Thakur, there are many such ministers. A lot of house cleaning needs to be done. I don't know what reason they have their position. See, this kind of a land-wise allotment of ministries. Oh, this state, you have to give 1 or 2 ministries. Otherwise, this state will not vote for us. People have to vote with their head. Don't vote with your heart. The previous question about Punjabis being upset with BJP because they did not protect the BJP workers, Hindus in Bengal. Well, did the voters tell their BJP candidates in Punjab, why did you not do it? They are afraid to open their mouth. This is the kind of a lid that Modi and Amit Shah have imposed on the party. Nobody can dare open their mouth. What is the democracy there? I might defend BJP and India as a democracy outside of India because the alternative is far worse. You're seeing what is happening in Karnataka now. What happened to that case? Just suspension of 5 women for installing spy cameras in Hindu girls' toilets. That's it. Hundreds of Hindu girls are feeling like they want to commit suicide. What happened to that? Why isn't anybody talking about it? One picture. That's it. That's all is India. I mean, the balanced reporting has to be happening, guys. This story came 3-4 days ago, and then it has just completely vanished. But Manipur is still completely being stoked. So people are paying money to keep a particular story in the limelight, which is why I beg every time I start out saying, please like this video, because I'm hoping that those of you who have not liked videos, those of you who have not subscribed to our channel will subscribe, and thereby the reach will start growing more. YouTube has a very clear way of how it wants to present our videos to people who are coming to YouTube. They do it only when you are watching. There are 3 or 4 ways that you can improve. One is like our videos as soon as they start airing. Second is, of course, subscribe. Click on the bell button. 3. 4th, add comments. Constructive comments. We don't mind criticism. Don't personalize it. Don't try to abuse us. Just say that I felt that this was incorrect because, and provide facts, and we'll be happy to acknowledge it. Many a time we do that. Sometimes when you're talking impromptu, some mistakes do creep in. Next, please. Karthik Swaminathan wants to know, how do you see the recent activism by Supreme Court on Teesta, Manipur, Gyanvapi, etc., especially with 370 Raga cases and others coming up? Karthik, this is an ongoing problem. When Supreme Court decides to take up something suo motu and when it ignores. For example, Chidambaram should have been acted upon. It was a contempt of Supreme Court. The EO and the police should not have entered the Chidambaram temple. The 2-finger test, my God, what an abhorrent act. That's a ban. That test is banned. And they did that. What has happened? You tell me what has happened. Nothing. Why can't the Supreme Court take suo motu action? Notice of this is, after all, their order that these people are in contempt of. Did they recommend to the Home Ministry to dismiss the DMK government? They are going on merrily. So it's just baffling how India runs itself. Vamsi, how to implement 4 labor codes WB is the only state hasn't published rules for any of the 4 codes. What Modi government must do? See, there is state governance and there is central governance. Whatever falls under the state governance, only the state can set laws and they can implement them. And when states, like for example, ban CBI from coming and conducting investigation in the state, they're actually doing a disservice to people who are living in that state. As simple as that. But when you load people with so many problems day to day that they don't have time to look up and see what is coming their way, this is what happens. Everybody is loaded with their own problems. And we come and crash in front of the television set at 9 p.m. just to say, okay, I don't want to deal with day-to-day problems. Let me see what is going on in TV. Instead, you can watch social media. You can watch sites like P-Gurus. We're very objective. We don't carry the briefcase for any party, any individual, anyone. Arvind wants to know, why can't we condemn all illegal acts without analysis of what community, religion, caste, etc. they belong to? The illegal act is an illegal act, period. Yes, criminal code is common to everybody in India. And many of these things, crimes come under, crime is criminal code for a crime committed. But they don't do it. What do you say? NIA, in fact, has to take Andhra Pradesh State Police to go and do a raid in Kerala because they don't trust the Kerala police to help them. The Kerala police, they think, will alert the suspected culprits and they'll escape. Or they'll have a bead crowd in front. Just what you are seeing in Manipur is not the first time. In Kerala, many known culprits were defended by the other people who are around them. They'll just come and surround the NIA office and or the place where these people are hiding and or police station and not allow them to be taken out. What do you do? Mob fury. I mean, people have to understand there are consequences. Only Yogi Adityanath is doing it in a systematic manner. He takes pictures of everybody who's doing whatever video surveillance is enforced. If you do some damage to public property and you happen to have property that gets bulldozed, so that is really the dampener. In mob fury, you can't do anything. Don't listen to what America will say, New York Times will say, BBC will say. They all will say only bullshit. It's time to look past all that. You still have a country to run. You still have a government to govern. Next one. Which case is that where the women put cameras in Hindu Govt? 3 Islamic women. They were all students of a college in Udupi. And what they did was they installed spy cameras in Hindu girls' toilets. And and not only that, they shared it with many Muslim boys. This is Kerala story plot. There was one of the story plots in Kerala story was this. See, this is one of the downsides when you show a movie with how the harm was done. People now start committing what is called as copycat crimes. And the school just suspended those 3 girls. What about follow-up action? Who's taking it up? Is that also going to be handed to the NIA? It could be an NIA case. Vinay Dhotre, Sri sir, do you think all our suggestions to BJP is ever passed to them? Is there anyone in their IT cell who's taking up suggestions like press conference daily, etc.? Some do. Some do get passed up and they do get implemented. So yes, we've had some decent, right? So ask good questions here. We'll get good specialists to come and weigh in on it and how to solve that problem. And sometimes you will be surprised the government does act. Well, they do want to solve the problem. They want to know the correct solution. Not you try to solve it and you create a new problem in the process. That's what they don't want. I think that brings us to a close of today's program. I'm surprised that so many of you joined to listen to this. The short notice, I only gave you 10 minutes before I went live on Twitter. And thank you once again. Your support is very valuable, invaluable in fact. And please help us. Please like this video. Please like our channel. Please share, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.